H.P. Lovecraft was a genius. There is no doubt about it. For those that don't know who H.P. Lovecraft was, he was a sci-fi horror author born on August 20th, 1890. He was not famous for his work at the time, but is now a renowned author, recognized by many, one of which who left a lasting impression on history. His work was so influential, it even inspired the likes of Stephen King, one of modern horror's greatest authors. Moreover, his contributions to both horror and sci-fi would pave the way for the genre as we know it today, and it is very evident that his work is used pretty much everywhere, as a source of inspiration of course. His work even continues to carry on today, inspiring games like Bloodborne, an amazing game mind you, that is basically a giant love letter to Lovecraft. And even his more famous monsters, like Cthulhu, made their way into many different forms of media, which extends to video games, and sometimes even shows like Rick and Morty. On the topic of Lovecraftian monsters, there are a lot more than the walking meme that is Cthulhu, to actually send shivers down your spine. So let's talk about some of my favorites. Nyarlathotep. Nyarlathotep is quite different compared to other deities of the Cthulhu mythos in a pretty significant number of ways. Unlike many of the outer gods, like Cthulhu, Yog-Sothoth, and Azathoth, Nyarlathotep was not exiled to the stars to remain in a sleep, almost catatonic state. Far from it. You see, this humanoid, serpent-like creature remains on Earth, and is relatively active. He walks the planet in the disguise of a human, typically a happy-go-lucky man that is tall and slender. However, that is not his only disguise. Having the ability of immortality, world-jumping, and shape-shifting, the deity had garnered a lot of different forms over its lifespan, and it is reported that it has over 1,000 other forms and manifestations. What makes this deity so terrifying is how cruel it actually is. Unlike the other outer gods, like Azathoth, whom it serves, Nyarlathotep believes it is more enjoyable and detrimental to induce madness on any living creature. It is sadistic in nature, and gets a rush from torturing others, describing the feeling as orgasmic. Moreover, it is even hinted at that it will one day destroy the human race and the world. Azathoth. Azathoth, to put it bluntly, is described as the blind idiot god, but more on that later. Azathoth's appearance is actually unknown. It is only ever hinted at within the mythos that Lovecraft had built, and indeed may remain unknown to mortal creatures. It apparently occupies a position outside our universe, where many extraterrestrial cohorts serve it and tend to its well-being. Azathoth, like mentioned earlier, is a deity that had been exiled to the cosmos and put in a forever slumber. Other smaller deities reportedly play a maddening tune that keeps Azathoth asleep. If it were to ever wake up, even for a short amount of time, it would bring an end to the universe. For you see, Azathoth is the creator of the universe and all existence. But it doesn't know it. Hence the name Blind Idiot God, because it is so oblivious to the universe and the beings within it. It would drive itself mad if it discovered it, ultimately destroying all of existence. Yibb-Tstll. Yibb-Tstll is definitely one of the lesser-known creatures of Lovecraftian horror, at least when compared to the likes of Cthulhu or Azathoth, but it has quite immense power. Yibb-Tstll is extremely clever and wise, as it has the ability to see through space and time. Moreover, it can see all things in the universe at all times. It has even acquired the name, the Patient One, and is even considered to be so wise that the only other omnipotent being that can surpass its wisdom is Yog-Sothoth. Coming into contact with this deity is extremely dangerous. Should you come into contact with its blood, would mean that you would only have a short time to live. The blood of the creature can be used as a weapon, dubbed the Black, that resembles ash, and when it attaches itself to any living creature, it will continue to smother them. In addition, some people even theorize that the bubonic plague came as a result of this creature's blood. This dark mass of tentacles, with a deformed head, detached eyes, and large bat wings, can, like most outer gods, drive a person insane by the mere sight of it. Even thinking about the creature can bring forth its malevolent intent. Mego. The Mego are a race of pinkish fungoid crustacean-like creatures, with wings resembling that of a bat, and have enormous claws. They are an alien race from the planet Yuggoth, and are an extremely advanced race. They are supposedly one of the, if not the, most advanced species of creatures to ever have existed, evident by their advanced sciences, technology, and sophisticated grasp on surgical techniques and neuroscience. What makes these creatures so terrifying, aside from their appearance, is their intelligence, and particular interest in experimenting on human hosts. The Mego use their serrated claws to carefully remove the scalp of a human, ensuring they do not damage the brain, and salvage the brain, put it into a container, and then later experiment on it. On an added note, despite being so intelligent, their horrific appearance has garnered them the name, the fungi of Yuggoth. Brown Jenkin. Although not being as impressive as the last 4 entries mentioned previously, Brown Jenkin is the kind of horror you'd expect to come out of Lovecraft's mind. Brown Jenkin, in the simplest sense, is a familiar, specifically the familiar to the witch Keziah Mason. His appearance is one of the more unsettling things about this creature. It is rat-like in appearance, adorning a human head and hands. Although it is no larger than a good-sized rat, it is still pretty dangerous. Its hands, despite being that of a human's, can still cut through living tissue with ease. Moreover, it has the ability to travel at an absurd rate, practically traveling at the speed of light, making it capable of moving between dimensions, hence making it the perfect messenger, to which it actually is, delivering messages between Keziah and the devil. On a more disgusting note, Brown Jenkin can only spawn if there is blood laying around, or if there is an infant present, to which it will crawl out of, killing the infant instantly. I think it is pretty safe to claim that Lovecraft left us with a lot of horrific creatures. If not that, they are at least interesting, or grotesque. What really makes most of these creatures terrifying, at least in my opinion, is the way they are presented. Most are these cosmic entities that are so horrifying that the mere sight of them drives someone insane. This kind of horror isn't as carried over into modern day horror as much as I think it should be. There are some great exceptions, like Stephen King's It, The Mist, and The Void, but I think the whole cosmic entity aspects of Lovecraftian horror should be explored more in fiction in general. Which leads me to say that if anyone knows of any Lovecraftian-esque stories, please let me know. I need more Lovecraft in my life. I do believe it is now time for the little factoid. Wouldn't you agree? Well, did you know, although Lovecraft is most famous for creating the Cthulhu mythos, he never used that term. Lovecraft referred to his own series of interconnected mythos stories as the Arkham Cycle.